I recently made a video where I spent 24 hours in Fear Nightfall, and this mod pack was by far the scariest mod pack I've ever played in my entire life. Not to mention the fact that it gets harder and scarier every day that passes. The way Fear Nightfall works is every hour you get 40 minutes a day, which is relatively safe, followed by a 20-minute blood moon, which is horrifying. So with no other knowledge of this mod pack heading in, my main goal starting out was to just try and survive and feel out this mod pack for my first 5 hours. So I was very lucky that on my first day, I was able to find a house that I could try and survive the nights in. However, the first 5 nights kept going horribly wrong. So I decided to find a solution to the nights, that way they're no longer a problem I have to deal with. And the solution I came up with was routed to my time spent on Skyblock. Because as anybody who's ever played Skyblock knows, mobs can't spawn on top of bottom slabs. And on top of that, mobs can only spawn within 128 blocks of a player. So if I fully covered the entire ground around my house with bottom slabs, mobs wouldn't be able to spawn during the blood moons. However, an even better solution for the nights is to use the same concept of bottom slabs not being able to spawn mobs to make an entire base out of them. So I decided to spend the next 5 hours making an item called a mahogany broom. That way I could fly to a naturally spawning floating island and test out my theory. But in order to make the broom, I had to go to some dangerous places and deal with some dangerous mobs. However, after I spent 5 hours gathering resources in the overworld and the nether, I had all the resources I needed for making the broom. So after I made the broom, I used it to fly to a floating island to put my bottom slab idea to the test to see if I could make my nights no longer an issue in Fear Nightfall. So once I was at the island, I put down a few slabs and put my theory to the test by AFKing during the night, which thankfully was successful and not spawning a single mob up here during the blood moon, which also technically means that with this floating island, the nights aren't an issue I have to deal with anymore. So naturally, I decided to go all out and spend the next and final 14 hours of this world turning this little floating island into a full-on skyblock base with everything I could ever need up here, making a home in the sky complete with farms, a spawner, a house, and much more. However, with that being said, there's a whole lot more things that happen in this video that I didn't tell you about because of the limited amount of time I have in a YouTube short. So if you want to see the full video and actually see what all I did, click the video link to this short to see me spend 24 hours in Fear Nightfall.